Today I have a grapevine wreath that I bought from Hobby Lobby. I'm taking it in a zigzag pattern with some chenille or pipe cleaners that I also got at Hobby Lobby or Joann's. And I'm simply taking it in a zigzag pattern, and I'm fixing to cut up some burlap, pre-cut up burlap in the left-hand corner there. And I'm fixing to fill one side halfway around with the burlap. It gives it a good foundation for what I'm fixing to do with this floral wreath today. I wanted the burlap to be a mute tone, so I just went with the basic burlap. I measure it from my wrist halfway up my arm, and then I crinkle it like a fan in my fingers, and then I bunch it up and then just twist it in the twist ties or the pipe cleaners. You literally just crinkle it up any way you can, and I usually do 2 sections of burlap in one pipe cleaner. Sometimes I'll go back and I do 3. Sometimes I start at the corner of my burlap and then pinch it to the other corner to make a long bow tie, and sometimes I pinch it down the middle. That's the effect you're seeing now, is a ruffle. They usually call it a ruffle technique, but I'm using 2 to 3 burlap in each pipe cleaner sections, and I'm going halfway around my grapevine wreath. This is some plaid ribbon, Christmas colors that I got from Hobby Lobby, I believe. It was either Hobby Lobby or Joann's. I'm fixing to use what's called a bow dabra, and I also bought some 4-inch Christmas ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Now I'm just taking it, and I did 2 loops per ribbon. I took a chenille pipe cleaner and I twisted it in the back, and now I'm just push that chenille tie through the back of my wreath and attaching it to my wreath. Now I'm fluffing the bow, and I'm cutting what's called a dovetail technique, where you're just cutting from the bottom at an angle and it creates a tail. Now what I'm doing is what's called a bunny loop or a bunny ear. Just one loop, with one with my 4-inch and one with my 2-inch plaid. And I'm going around and I'm alternating these loops just for an added effect to balance out the wreath with the ribbon. I'm simply just taking half of one piece of ribbon, and I'm making one loop, and I'm putting my tails facing outside, towards the outside of my wreath. And I'm alternating each side of the plaid to the Christmas ribbon, which is little bells and little red poinsettias and evergreen. Now I'm going through and I'm just making sure that I'm cutting all of my dovetails. You don't want just flat ribbon. I always like to, well, I guess you can if you want to, but I like mine to have a dovetail. So I'm cutting the corners of all my ribbon. And I'm looking at the holes that I see. That's just basic burlap, and then there I'm filling in with some extra ribbon. Now I put an extra huge loop from the bow to make it look like a big ribbon tail. This is my lineman's pliers that I use. They're ergonomic and they're really easy on your hands, and they cut pretty well. Now I'm going around and I'm just filling in, and I'm cutting my pipe cleaners that have a long tail on them. I'm going around and I'm cutting them off, twisting them and cutting them off. And then I'm going back with hot glue. You never just want to just use hot glue and then touch things. So I'm using a popsicle stick to go and to let my hot glue cool down a little bit. I bought these florals, or this greenery, from Hobby Lobby. I bought it over at the Christmas section. One was $7.99 and I think one was $3.99. I used 3 different types, 2 over in the Christmas section and 1 over in with the florals. One looks like a juniper, one looks like a fir, and then one just has like pine cones in it. I always do my burlap, my ribbon next, and now I'm doing my greenery, and then my floral pieces will be at the end. Now I'm taking apart each greenery piece, just pulling off the stems, putting them on the table, and then I'm taking them each little section and shoving them in, placing them in the cracks of the burlap and the cracks of my ribbon. I don't want any pipe cleaners to show, so I usually aim at putting it in there, or anything that looks naked or bare. I am adding greenery in those spots as well. It's okay that the burlap peeks through. In my opinion, it just adds to the style of wreath that I did. Some people might not like it to add any greenery, but I wanted to add greenery. It balances out with the ribbon and balances out with the look that I was going for. I'm going around the wreath now and just making sure that I'm filling in the gaps and the cracks of where the burlap would be, where I think greenery should go, and I'm alternating between my 3 styles of greenery. One is a lighter color, one is a darker color, and one looks like a juniper. It has little buds on it, little seed type buds on it. Now I got the magnolia, white magnolia. It has some glitter, it has some silver effect on it, but I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going in there now and adding it, alternating the magnolia, and I also have a poinsettia that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and it's pretty good size, and these are flocked with a little bit of glitter, and I'm placing them down the side of where the burlap is. Taking off the leaves as well as the floral piece there. I don't want to waste any of my leaves. Now this bunch of flowers I got at Joann's, and they do have a little bit of flocked as well as a soft glitter about them, and too kind of like a snow glistening. And I always use Gorilla Glue, and I always put a healthy amount on the stem part of my flower, and I always like to shove it really good down into my burlap, and that's always why I like to use a bed of burlap, because the burlap sticks to the glue really well. And these are white berries that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I thought they matched the white frost / snow looking white flowers that I had in this piece. And here is the finished product. Here is what we made in this video today. There's the poinsettia, there's the beautiful Christmas ribbon, there's the magnolia, and the flowers that I got at Joann's. Thanks for joining with me. If you want to see this wreath, go to Nancy's Front Door at Etsy.